folks, it's Stefan, back again with another episode of the Gamer's Companion to Music. Today we're searching for treasure down in the deep caves of Spelunky. We've both been playing this game a lot lately, and it presents some very unique musical challenges. This video will deal with the 2012 release primarily, and not the 2008 freeware original. The constant repetition and difficulty tends to give the player a very particular taste of the music, more so than the music does itself. Let's dive in and I'll tell you all about it. Spelunky was composed by the relatively young Eirik Circuit. I hope I got that pronunciation right. As of this video, he's 28. I'm 28. I've composed 0 games, so clearly I've got some work to do. He also notably composed the music for Hotline Miami. Spelunky puts the player in the shoes of an unnamed cave explorer, looking for treasure deep below. Progressing through the game, you'll find 4 distinct areas with 4 levels in each. We start in the mines, then move through the jungle, then to the ice caves, and finally through the temple, for a total of 16 levels in any given run, provided you can survive that long. The stages are procedurally generated, meaning that within a certain set of parameters, the stages are randomized, so no 2 playthroughs are the same. The game is also very, very difficult. You start with 4 hearts of health, and the only way to get them back reliably if you lose one is to find and bring the damsel, who we affectionately refer to as Bae, to the level's exit, to get back 1 heart in between stages. Spikes will kill you in 1 hit, and some of the enemies are just ridiculously annoying to deal with. I'm looking at you, jungle frogs. Not only that, should you happen to attack or steal from one of the game's many shopkeepers, they'll come guns a-blazing, hopping around erratically in efforts to kill you from that moment until you finish your run. With the randomized stages, clearly it wouldn't make much sense to compose the music based on specific elements in each stage, so the music here was composed based on the area the player is in. The mines have a certain set of themes, as does the jungle, the ice caves, and the temple, as well as a few secret areas that can be very hard to find on your own. The music in the game uses a lot of different samples and synthesized instruments with different effects. Stylistically, the music has a slight tone of dismay, or I guess impending danger to it would probably be a good way to describe it. It's not very happy-go-lucky, is what I'm trying to say. It is, however, driven mostly by rhythm. The melodies tend to be shorter statements, and I find the grooves are the coolest part. I usually don't come away singing the melodies, well, except for the shopkeeper one. Upon starting the game, you'll hear the same progression of music. First, the title theme plays. And then shortly, you'll move into the lobby. Then after you select your game, the walls will shift and your adventure will begin. Now, no matter what, the first time you move into the mines from the main menu each time, you will hear the following music in the first stage. It's actually one of my favorite tracks in the game, called Adventure Begins. This does not appear in the normal rotation of music for the mines, it's specific to the start of your adventure. Note that a quick restart will not trigger this music. It only happens after the walls are shifting screen. In each area there are 3 main tracks that rotate through the levels. All 3 in each area are in a very similar style. If you aren't listening closely, you might actually think you're listening to the same music. The music isn't very long either. It's rare that one of the songs will go for more than 1 minute before it repeats on its endless loop. When you beat the game, Spelunky will throw a 4th track into each rotation, one that doesn't share the same style as the normal music. The bonus track is a straight-up chiptune piece that's really an awesome way to change up the normal monotony of the same 3 pieces of music you hear over and over and over again. The mines feature slightly subdued music. It's not too fast and settles into a nice pace. The driving rhythmic feature is the hi-hat through all 3 of these tracks. You can hear it prominently in each, setting the tempo or the speed. Take a listen to the 3 tracks from the mines to give you a feel of what you're going to hear starting off each quest. The jungle features my least favorite level elements in the game, and the music here is a little bit more foreboding than before, especially Jungle B. There's kind of a shuffling groove going on in the jungle, but the melodies here are more varied in instrumentation than in the mines, if you ask me. Jungle C gives you a really neat, almost saxophone-style solo. Jungle A is much less melody-centered. And Jungle B is just very foreboding and upfront about the danger you're in. The Ice Cave's music is way more ethereal and laid back than the jungle is. The developers have said that these levels, while presenting new and different challenges, were meant to be a slight break from the difficulty of the jungle. Ice Cave C uses a really cool 5-beat groove instead of the standard 4-beat one we hear in most music. Seriously, just count to 5 a bunch and you'll feel what the music is doing here. Ice Cave's A is a little bit more ethereal. We hear these sort of chime-style sounds giving us a melody that kind of fits the visual tone of Ice musically. It's kind of a tough thing to describe sometimes, but think about what types of sounds Ice makes you think about. You might think of high pitches or pings and crackles of an icicle or something like that. Ice Cave's B is menacing. It also adds in some ambient wind sound in the background. It's very fitting considering the fact that if you miss a ledge, it's possible to fall into the abyss below you. The temple is an area I have less experience in. I mean, you gotta be able to get there to play it, right? The temple brings back all your least favorite traps from previous levels and adds a new slew of deadly enemies, and I mean deadly. Don't mess with Anubis unless you want the sweet taste of instant death. All 3 of the temple tracks are very different. Temple C is more in that Spelunky style that we've heard so far. Temple B is what you'd stereotypically think of, using a very Eastern style of plucked string instrument to serve melodically. Temple A is my favorite of the bunch because of how much more fast-paced it is than the others. None of the music we've heard so far is really this driving, it's just great. Now, there are a few variations in the types of stages you'll encounter through the game. Should you take a bit of time in the mines, jungle, or temple level, there's a chance that the next stage will become a dark level. These levels suck. They're very dark and you start with a torch to light up the way, but especially in the jungle or temple, it's so hard to see what dangers are coming up, and it's very easy to get absolutely annihilated very quickly. Here's the dark mines, the dark jungle, and then the dark temple music. Some other variations include the really cool haunted jungle, the Yeti version of the ice caves, which is a personal favorite. So smooth. Or you'll hear this one if you're able to find yourself eaten by the worm in the jungle or the ice caves. This one's all rhythm and it's funky. Taking more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the level, and you'll face death. No, seriously, like a death ghost will come from the wall and chase you around the level, and it really zonks out the music. I'm pretty sure there is a ghost version of every music track in the game. I would highly recommend checking them out, but here's an example right now. I'd also mention the fourth track that happens once you beat the game. These are the egg tracks, because they're named Mines Egg or Temple Egg, etc. They're completely chiptuned and they're completely awesome. They harken back to the 2008 freeware version, which was composed of completely chiptuned music. Here's a few of those. Now, here's the part where I talk about hell. I've never gotten to hell. We've both come close. I've gotten to the City of Gold and Joe has gotten to Olmec, but neither of us has set foot inside hell. For those who think I'm talking in code, I'm definitely not. There is within Spelunky a very specific alternate ending to the game that's one of the most difficult tasks I've come across in gaming. In the mines, there's a key and a chest in one of the 4 levels that gives you the locator. In the jungle, the locator will ping when you're close to the black market entrance that's hidden. Once you're in there, you gotta get the Ankh from the shopkeeper for 50,000 or just steal it. Once you have that, you gotta find the stone-faced statue in the ice caves and die in the level. That spawns you inside the statue and gives you the head jet. Then you gotta kill Anubis in 4-1 and collect a scepter, take it to the locked door in 4-2, which takes you to the City of Gold. In there, you find the Book of the Dead and kill Anubis too. In the Olmec fight, you gotta get him to kill himself below the boss, or you can stand on his head and you're gonna go to the door of the hell! Then there's incredibly a different boss at the end of hell. It's very frustrating to try, but incredibly amazing each time you make progress. It's really a shame too, because the one hell track you get is amazing. Through the process though, you'll hear the black market music, which is slightly different from the jungle. As well as the City of Gold music, which is slightly different from the temple. The best music in the game, in my opinion, though, is the Olmec boss fight. Listen while you watch me die a ton of times. I've also got to mention the shopkeeper. Oh my god. Alright, so when you kill or steal from a shopkeeper, a very short loop plays every time a shopkeeper becomes aggressive towards you. It's so menacing, but more so it becomes so tiring to hear the same thing over and over again with no variation. There's a ton of shopkeepers in the game, so if you attack one, your musical experience of Spelunky will change into pretty much this. Spelunky is a very unique game with a lot of challenge and replay value to it. I've been loving the heck out of this recently. I know I'm late to the party. And the music is both quite nice and quite tiring at the same time. It's all about how much you end up hearing it because of the nature of the random stage generation. It's an interesting look at how much tolerance we have for a particular song before it gets overplayed. This happens in popular music as well. When does a song become overplayed? Well, it changes from person to person. If you play Spelunky, just think about it. And if you're thinking of trying it, see how long you can last before that shopkeeper theme just bugs you. That'll wrap it up for this episode of The Gamer's Companion to Music. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to share it along. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Want some more Spelunky? Check out the 10-second walkthrough or find another GCM just for you.